One thing that I have talked about a lot on this show, and one thing that I think we should all be incredibly concerned about, major drink spiking crackdown is on its way, saying it will become a more specific criminal offence with predators likely to be jailed, which is essentially great news. PM Starmer says he's going to meet police and and put together a major crackdown on something that really is causing huge problems. I just said earlier in the show, my daughter goes to Edinburgh University. She tells me that when they go, this is on the radio, they have to put their hand over the top of the drink. Delighted to have a couple of guests now. I want to start with Dawn Dines. She's the CEO and founder of Stamp Out Spiking. Really delighted to have you on, Dawn. My daughter explains so much about this. I know you have personal experience which inspired you to set this up. Explain what today's announcement means for you as an organisation, and please take what I'm going to say the right way. Do you believe this government, or do you just believe it's a soundbite?
Well, time will tell, Jeremy, won't it?
Yeah.
First of all, thank you so much for having me on. And I've got to say, after 20 years of campaigning, I'm absolutely elated that the government are now going to be taking this seriously. They're going to be updating the law, thank goodness. I mean, when they say that they put funding in to train 10,000 bar staff, that's just not even a little trickle in the ocean. That wouldn't even train the City of London, let alone the whole of the UK. So we need investment from the government. I can't tell you how many men and women I've had breaking down in my arms over the past 20 years, telling me the most disgusting accounts of what's happened to them. They've received no justice. They've got no criminal convictions against anybody. So it's been like a free-for-all. So thank goodness something is eventually being done.
We started this show talking about, this government today is announcing this, and it's announcing, worklessness, and there is a lot of frustration in the country. I don't want to make this political because I think it's a really good cause. How do you, in essence, police something like this? Again, I go back to my daughter's example of what she explains to me. Kids of 18, and this is how old I am, with their hands over their drink. She can't leave a drink anywhere. Obviously, this world is alien to me. How can you led this. What should we do as a society? How are bar staff going to be able to see what you never put your drink on a table, you never leave a drink? She'll tell me that if she goes to the toilet, she gives her friend her drink.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, up in Scotland, I actually sit on the Scottish Round Table for this and the Met Police Round Table. And we've got resources. We've got protective drink covers called stop tops that you pop on your drink. If anybody tampers with it, it will rip. Not that you should ever leave your drink unattended anyway.
Do we think bar staff should be putting them on when they serve a drink then?
Yeah, definitely. We've been reaching out to all the big chains to see if they'll, invest in this. And everybody's like, we've got to watch for money. But the drink industry, surely they pay some revenue every year to different charities. So surely that could be used to protect drinks. And when you were saying about your daughter there, Jeremy, I've got to say that I had a few people who've come and worked for me over the years. And one of them said to me recently, oh, I was one of the lucky ones at uni. I didn't get spiked. And I was like, what sort of a conversation am I having with young people that they feel lucky they didn't get spiked? We need protective drink covers. We need education for bar staff, for door security. I mean, it's just been made mandatory for the SIA to train all their door staff. We used to call them bouncers back in the day.
Can't do that now. I can't say the word bouncer. That's disrespectful, misogyny.
Yeah, it was, yeah. So now we got door security. So what are we going to be doing? Like, how is the average Joe who does a job and then works at the weekends, now he's got to pay to have spiking awareness training? Surely the government should be putting their hands in their pockets for this sort of training, and that's going to be mandatory from April.
Let's split the screen, please, and bring in Alan Simpson, Deputy Chief Executive of UK Hospitality. Alan, a very good afternoon to you. Welcome to Talk Drive. Split the screen, please. How are you, Alan?
I'm very well. How are you?
What do you make of what Dawn said? This is a really important thing to me. I probably the archetypal father didn't really understand until my daughter explained to me how catastrophic and how appallingly widespread this is. And Dawn made a really salient point, didn't she? Oh, I was one of the lucky ones. I escaped it at university. What does that say about our society, my friend?
Yeah, I think we have to accept the fact that drink spiking is a significant problem. Dawn and I, this is the second time we've been on an interview together today, and Dawn this morning used the stat that the number of people who report having their drink spiked is about 7,000, but of course the actual number of people that happens to is much higher. So one of the things that's happening here is people just aren't reporting the problem in the first place. And yes, we talk about it being women and girls, but it's also a significant number of men. Gay people seem to be most at risk. This is a very broad social problem, and any levers that we can pull to help put a little bit of power behind the work that Dawn and others do is really important.
Deputy Chief Executive UK Hospitality, again without making it political, it seems that every government seems to want to screw the hospitality industry, and I know it's been a particularly hard time. Dawn, though, touched upon things that she feels could help this dreadful thing, practice, sort of be slowed, if not kind of protected drink covers, staff training. We're not allowed to call them bouncers anymore. God, the world's changed. Could the hospitality industry do more? Genuine question.
I think we can always do more, and we should do more. What the government's announced today, as Dawn says, is not going to fully solve the problem. Some of the burden has to fall on hospitality. Also, frankly, some of the burden has to fall on those of us who go out for a drink. You know, Jeremy, you and I have to, as we all should, keep an eye out for people who might look a bit more vulnerable while they're out having a drink. I think one of the main issues, of course, is that this is a sector which does have a higher turnover of staff than other sectors. We need to make sure that everybody who comes through the front door is given the same training as the person who left. But this has got to be a sort of a social thing to try and fix, because it's not going to be just one stakeholder or one group that does it. It needs to be all of us.
Wouldn't it be interesting if you took, and I'm proud to be British, but there's one or two things that drive me insane. You know, we're famous for rubbernecking accidents. There's a large number of people now that if you say, I don't like your shirt, they'll report you to the police for a hate crime. Wouldn't it be great if we could harness that nosy, interfering, sort of judgmental side and actually, as you quite rightly said, not be on the lookout, but play our part? Don't you think, Dawn, that would be relevant as well if the public helped this situation?
That's exactly what I've been saying for the last few years. This isn't down to one industry, and everybody jumps on the hospitality industry all the time for answers. We've got the hospitality industry. We've got the key service providers. You know, the police need training. They don't know about spiking issues. I've got videos of people, what they act like, what they look like. I've got a step-by-step guide. I've got accredited training for the door staff, for the hospitality sector, for festivals. And we just need some core funding from the government. If the government would actually put some funding into our charity, I've actually self-funded this myself, which is terrible. How should one girl from Devon have to be fighting this? Like, I've been fighting this. I've got 5 cross-political parties who all agree.
What made you lead this fight then? Genuine question.
Because somebody spiked me years ago. I was one of the lucky ones that I didn't get sexually assaulted. I didn't get bribed. I didn't get robbed. And since then, I've come back from traveling around the world and I'm like, oh, yeah, someone tried to spike me. And then everyone's like, I've been spiked. My daughter's been spiked. The guy in the bank's been spiked. A policeman's been spiked. I'm like, what? So then I started delving into it. I went around the country handing out these stop tops, and I had the odd policeman or policewoman who were like, who really gave a damn, and they were like, yes, Dawn, we're going to help you. And now it's got to this stage. I've got 5 cross-political parties who all agree. And, you know, the Conservative government done loads of good work, and now the Labour government are going to take it over the line. I don't mind. I'm not politically minded whatsoever. That's not my bag. But what I am concerned about is the men and the women that I've had breaking down in my arms, telling me the most disgusting accounts of how they've been raped. They don't know if they've been filmed. And then they go to the police and we're not getting any convictions. So why, like, we need to be working with the police. That's a really difficult thing to do. To work with the police is difficult. To work with the government is difficult. You know, we started this petition, and today I wasn't at number 10 when they're having these meetings. I'm like, surely, like, I'm the expert in this. I've been doing it for 20 years. Why wasn't I Didn't I deserve a seat at that table?
Definitely.
So
Alan, sorry, Dawn, can I just jump in very quickly? Alan, it's interesting to hear, well, it's good to hear. It frustrates me that somebody like Dawn, it has to be her passion through experience. A really good attitude as well from, as you said, from the hospitality industry. Just very quickly, no doubt we need to stamp out spiking, and I love SOS, I love the whole concept of what Dawn is doing. Can we? Is it feasible, my friend?
Well, we should try to, and we should try and stamp it out as much as we possibly can, but that is going to require a lot of effort from a lot of people. And frankly, probably a significant social change in the way that, let's be frank, young men think about young women in particular. Yeah. This needs to be, we need to see this as a symptom of a problem and deal with the problem at root cause. And that's what Dawn does so brilliantly.
Dawn and Alan, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Dawn, whatever we can do to help with that charity, that's a promise from us.